If we can switch gears for just a minute, we were sitting in the fighter meetings, and Tim saw you afterwards, and Tim's like, "I like what you've been doing on Twitter. I like that you've kind of been vocal and you've been kind of calling out for the fight you want, that Spence fight." Is 2020 just bringing out a different blood? Are you just tired of hearing people talk and want to speak for yourself and kind of get out there on Twitter and tell everybody what it is?
Well, yeah, of course. I be going through little things with myself. Trying to stay humble and be the man that I am, and you know, enough is enough. I mean, at some point, a time you gotta, let them know that, it ain't all fun and games everywhere. I want to fight. Everybody know I want to fight, and I'm tired of people saying that I'm ducking and I don't want to fight this guy or I want to fight that guy, which that's not true. I never ducked any fighter in my career. Every fighter that
Yeah, you can tell he was getting fed up with like a lot of the shit that's been going on social media and Twitter. I told you I don't get into that shit. Like, I look down. Don't get me wrong. I'm sorry if it may come across the wrong way, but I look down on YouTubers, especially boxing YouTubers, that they don't cover the sport as a whole. Every day you see a Terrence Crawford video, a Deontay Wilder video, an Errol Spence video, and then when certain fighters are fighting, Manny Pacquiao video, I don't do that. I cover the sports as a whole. I don't like getting to all that bullshit. One thing is for sure is I am on the fence about the 50-50 money situation though. However, I do hold being undisputed at high regard, and I know that Al Heyman has a plan for, and PBC on Fox has a plan for their fighters, and I feel that it may be like an intentional freeze out of Terrence Crawford. For example, if Errol Spence was to lose two of those belts, to Terrence Crawford or the top ringside, that would really, really hurt the 47 pound stable of PBC and Al Heyman fighters. It's a lot bigger than boxing and money sometimes, man, when you got to look at the business side of things. Promoters and managers can tell fighters whatever, they want to tell them, and the fighters are going to be like, yeah, but looking at it from the outside looking in, PBC, especially when you hear the executives at Fox talking about doing their own tournaments and talking about how like they control or insinuating that they control what fights get made and what fighters fight on what networks and shit, because they are paying the fighters. They are responsible for the money and the production and all that. So to me, in my personal opinion, Spence versus Crawford is bigger, much, much bigger than the money that these fighters would be making in regards to the networks. Because imagine if Terrence Crawford were to win and he controls that WBU, IBF, and Errol Spence. They're going to have only that fucking, and they got the WBA World, and Virgil Ortiz got the WBA bullshit gold. No disrespect to Virgil Ortiz, but they would control the marketplace. Therefore, it would have to go to purse bids, or PBC would be Top Rank would be the A side over a stable where PBC is very, very strong. That's just like if Julian Williams, was to fight Jamel Charlo, and then they say, well, we want to go on to be undisputed, and whoever wins that goes on to fight Patrick Teixeira, and then loses. And then Golden Boy gets all those belts. Crazy. And then, they'll do their best to maneuver and slide their fighters in the rankings in positions so where they'll always be able to get their hands on those belts. That's why Ruiz versus Joshua 2 was huge for PBC. Ruiz let a lot of people down when it came to that shit, especially when he just openly admitted coming in overweight. But yeah, Spence and Crawford did talk on the phone, so according to both of the fighters, Spence said, hit me up. Crawford hit him up like, don't tell me, busy, all that shit. They hashed the shit out. I'm confident the fight is going to happen, but when? It can happen in 2020. Errol Spence, it's crazy how Adu Ka Horov, I just knew how to pronounce his name a couple of days ago. This guy right here. I covered him. I was at his last fight. Him and Sergey Limpinets was ordered to fight for the IBF interim, but yet Errol Spence is not supposed to be injured? Why is there an interim? And the IBF don't make interims. The whole situation is weird. But anyway, let's listen to a little bit more of this.
actually called me out, we eventually fought. So I don't see me ducking or hiding behind promoters and whatnot to say why the fight can't get made.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating for you when everybody seems to have an excuse for why the fight can't be made happen, but you've really made no excuses. I mean, they say, oh, it's because of your promoter. Bob Arum is your boss. Oh, it's because you're with Top Rank. But really, as we're going to see with Fury and Wilder, things can happen.
It's not no hold up. Like I said, the fight will happen when it happens, but at the same time, I'm focused on my career, and whoever step forward for me to fight, then that's the fight that we're going to be at, and so be it.
How frustrating would it be for you if they make an Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao fight? Being with Top Rank and knowing that for a long time you've been trying to get that fight yourself for so long, and then he goes to PBC.
Well, it just happens. It's just how the dice roll. Like I told him, if he get that fight, I wish him nothing but the best. Because at the same time, I'm not in it to hate on anybody. That's just going to make our fight much bigger if he...
With the way he's talking, you have to wonder what they talked about. He spilled the beans. Remember, Bob Arum said he talked to Al Heyman about the fight. You haven't been hearing Bob Arum saying and bitching and complaining about the fight, have you? Not anymore. Not after he said that shit at the post-fight interview of Crawford versus Khan, and then he went over to the UK, and when Tyson Fury has signed with Top Rank, did an interview with the Boxing Social and was talking about, I'm not at liberty to say, but the fight is going to happen. And you ain't hear about, like, the fight is going to happen. But it's like on that other side, what has to happen before it does? So to me, it may be they want to make sure that Errol Spence, which makes sense, fights everybody on that side before they try to go over there and risk it. It's just all weird to me, though. And once again, since Wilder Fury 2 is able to happen, we know that both sides can work together. Just got the press release yesterday for Wilder Fury 2, a press conference from Top Rank and from PBC. So come on.
Do beat Pacquiao, you know what I mean? So I don't wish him nothing but the best.
You think he beats Manny?
I don't know. He got a high % chance of beating Manny, just like, me. A lot of people consider me and him the 1 and 2 best fighters in the division, and Manny come third. So we never know. It's boxing, though, at the same time. Manny's a great fighter. He's a Hall of Famer, and he showed that he still got a lot left in the tank with Keith Thurman and Broner. So you never know. It's boxing.
Another option. I mean, you gotta get another fight. You gotta keep moving along. A name that's been thrown out there is Patrick Teixeira at 154. There's been some articles that being written. Is that an option, something you'd be open to possibly?
Let me say this one thing about Patrick Teixeira, the WBO 154-pound champion. You can't be champion in 2 divisions, so Terrence Crawford would have to drop his WBO title. And then it would be right for the pickings for Danny Garcia and Sergey Limpinets to pick up. Or even Virgil Ortiz. But also, Al Heyman tries to steer his fighters away from WBO world titles. You rarely see Paco Vallecilreal giving out PBC WBO titles at PBC events, unless he sends an underling to send out, no disrespect to the sanctioning body, the underling to send out one of them WBO intercontinental titles and shit. But if he was to go to 154, he would have to drop his 147-pound belt, and he would have to start. I don't like it. Let's see what he has to say to
him. A belt if you win the fight in another weight division.
Was being talks about that fight on Twitter and all that, but that's not nothing that me and my coach or my manager and everybody have talked about, so this is where we at. This is where we at right now, and when that fight presents itself, then we'll take it accordingly.
But it's not too far fetched that you could making 154. You have good size for 47, so it's not like there's no way I could go up at 54 and win a fight.
Right, yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that I can compete with anybody at 154. A lot of people, they look at me and they judge my size and say, oh, he's too small for this guy, he's too small for that guy, but they really don't know me physically, so I
don't know. Them dudes up at 154 are huge, though, no homo. There's a big size difference up there. Those 154s can easily compete at 160. Maybe even 168 in the future. I don't know. But anyway, I'm T-Street Controversy with FightView360.com. I'm going to be at the fight tonight. This was at the Jesse Hart, Joe Smith weigh-in yesterday, January the 10th. Also, Clarissa Shields fought in Atlantic City, beating Ivana Hopazin the same night and the same weekend. So tonight is going to be the Jesse Hart, Joe Smith first card on ESPN. I'm going to be there. This is my last video until then, until I come back tomorrow and get out the content from last night. Also, I'm going to be rewatching tonight's card from home. Even though I'm going to be there tonight, but when I come home, I'm going to rewatch. I'm T-Street Controversy with FightView360.com. Please subscribe.
Trying to stay humble and be the man that I am, and enough is enough.